It's the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons! Brad Evans here, joined by the good sir, Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed another edition of the Fade 5 Podcast. And let's not waste any time. Let's hop aboard the Honk Honk Plus bus here on this Friday, Lundy, across the Major League Baseball slate. Your favorite longer odds wager, maybe it isn't baseball, maybe you're going to really throw me a curveball, that's plus 100 or greater odds across the landscape of sports books. Papa Mitt, my friend, what do you like tonight?
First of all, I would like Matt Olson to kiss my ass. Can we get that? I mean, before we get on the bus, Brett, can you and I talk about Mr. Olson, who all week, all stinking week, I'm going after that guy. You were going after him for an RBI. Yeah. I had him on a home run prop. I had him for an RBI. I had him for total bases. Yesterday, I was in a lot of meetings because that's apparently what I do for a living lately. And I didn't bet on him, and the son of a bitch hit 2 home runs.
Yeah, that's how it's gone all single week. I bet on him for that RBI prop or maybe total bags, and Austin Riley goes off. Or Ronald Acuna goes off. Ozzie Albies will get the needed threshold hit, and Mr. Olson will go over, and then the next day he'll just go ham. I mean, that's been the story for him all week long. But Lundy, try to bury
the
angst, my friend, and channel it through the bat of somebody else. What do you like tonight?
We're going with Teoscar Hernandez.
Love that one.
Yes. Let's go up to Seattle. They're taking on the Blue Jays. So a battle of those, northern teams, including the one up in America's hat. Over at DraftKings, plus 120 for Mr. Hernandez to go over 1.5 total bases against your favorite. You say Kikuchi. Oh, Kikuchi Smoochie.
You say Kikuchi.
One of your favorites. All right, plus 120 for him to go over on the total bags. So that's a great plus odds. I got a couple of really fun plus odds for you coming up in bonus time as well. But he's got a 444 lifetime average against Kikuchi. That includes 2 doubles and a home run. So let's see, carry the one. Boom, a 1,000 slugging percentage in his career against Kikuchi. 4 for 9. So a smaller sample size, but still solid enough that I think he takes care of business, especially at home. So at plus 120, give me the over on the total bags for Mr. Hernandez against Kikuchi.
Yes, I love me some you say Kikuchi, and he will lay a smoochie. Number 1 on batters-box.com's rankings today in the matchup rating is one Teoscar Hernandez. Shohei Ohtani is on the bump tonight, but I'm not focused on a pitching prop. I'm going to take one of him at the dish, and I say he gets over a half a walk drawn against Johan Oviedo and the Pittsburgh Pirates. I can't believe this is plus money, plus 120, and I'll work my shoulders and get seduced by that juice at DraftKings Sportsbook. But the strategy that everybody seems to be taking with Shohei Ohtani here after the All-Star break is don't you dare pitch any fat softball-like offerings over the plate to him. Try to dance around the strike zone, try to entice him, but here's the key. He's one of the most patient hitters in Major League Baseball, evidenced by his 13.1 walks percentage, one of the highest marks in Major League Baseball. On top of that, too, he has done this in 5 consecutive games, and in 6 of his last 7, a couple of outings ago against the New York Yankees, he drew 4 free passes. You think Oviedo, who's got a 4.33 walks per 9 mark against LHH, that's left-handed hitters this season, is going to serve him up a big old fastball across the middle of the dish? Hells to the no, he's not going to do that. Again, he's going to try to paint the corners, pocket to miss the spots, and Ohtani is just so damn patient that he is going to draw the base on balls. All we need is one to cash in at plus 120 there at DraftKings Sportsbook. With those bets on the board, let's get after it with another edition of the Friday Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero cinco. Let's stick with the walks theme here. And in the matinee special today, Cubs Cardinals, and the Cubs royally suck last night. Marcus Stroman was, just terrible. He was pure rubbish. The command was all over the place. He was laboring on the mound. The sweat was pouring off his brow early and often in the game, and he got yanked. Second worst outing the entire season. And the Cardinals, who were number one in total runs scored here in the month of July, just piled on with another 7 runs. The Cubs managed to score 2, despite Yan Gomes going 2 triples in the box score. Yeah, go out, buy a lottery ticket. That will never happen again. But I think the Cubs get their revenge tonight. I'm going to have a little SGP later on. And again, this is the only afternoon game. You can watch it on Apple TV. But I think Ian Happ draws a walk. I just need one against the Cardinals, and Jake Flaherty at -105 there at DraftKings. Why am I confident in this wager? Well, in 6 at-bats career against Jack Flaherty, he has drawn 4 walks. Happ, like Shohei Ohtani, one of the more patient hitters in Major League Baseball. I mentioned Shohei had a walk percentage of over 13%. Happ crushing that, 16.4% on the season. He's drawn 11 free passes here in the month of July. And Flaherty on the season, a 4.65 walks per 9 mark. So again, tally it up. The patience of Happ, the history against Flaherty, and Flaherty's general graciousness to the opposition and missing his spots means Happ on one of those at-bats today is going to take his base on balls. Fade or follow Lundy, -105 at DraftKings.
You find these guys that A, are patient, or B, pitchers are scared of. Okay, so you already talked about Ohtani. They're all scared of Ohtani. None of them want to put the softball on the tee and just let him go off. I was there at Coors Field at the Home Run Derby when he hit one out of Coors Field during warm-up. That is the reason why nobody wants to pitch to Shohei, because that is exactly what he will do. But they're doing the same thing with Ian Happ. By the way, the other guy that I isn't on our Fade 5, but that I want to throw out there right now is Juan Soto. Soto has 6 drawn walks in his last 3 games. 3 games. He's been walked 6 times. So he's another guy whose walk per 9 ratio is climbing right now. And it's because he went on a little bit of a streak. He was hitting pretty well. And now all of a sudden pitchers are trying to get around the strike zone instead of putting anything that he can get wood to the ball. So Happ's a good one. Ohtani's a good one. And Soto's the other guy that I've been keeping my eye on because he has been drawing walk after walk after walk lately for the Padres.
Cue the whistling, Axl Rose. All I need is just a little patience.
Number 4.
All right, thank God we're moving on from my horrific singing. Let's go to a wager that hopefully will not be equally as horrendous, and that is the Baltimore Orioles, one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball right now, and one of the hottest teams on the first 5-run line. They're in Tampa Bay taking on the suddenly fading Rays, who have really taken a step backward here over the last couple of weeks. I think Baltimore getting a half a run, so plus 0.5 on that first 5-run line. They're going to score the cover, and it's -110 there at BetMGM. Kyle Bradish is taking the ball for the O's in this game. And here in the month of July, just a 0.47 ERA that he has surrendered. That is it. So he has been sensational, to say the least. Now, the last time he faced Tampa Bay, only went 5 innings, but struck out 8, gave up a couple of earned runs, piled up the pitch counts, hopefully be a little bit more efficient this time around. But even if he completes those 5, I think the O's will have the lead. I look at Baltimore in their last 10 on the first 5-run lines, 8-2. And on the season, they are 9 games above 500 in the category. Tampa, just 2-8. So flipping the script there in their last 10 on first 5-run lines, though, plus 10 above 500 on the year in first 5-run lines. But a lot of those were notched over the first couple of months of the season. Zach Eflin is towing the rubber for the Rays. His second time through the order, ERA 4.93 makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And in his last 3 turns of the rotation, a 5.40 ERA. So given his inconsistencies and struggles, and given the fact that Bradish has been white hot with his command and delivering strikes, and two, the Orioles have been strong out of the gate, I think Lundy, they cover this first 5-run line in Tampa, -110 at BetMGM. Fade or follow.
This one has a lot to do with the Rays. Excuse me. I believe in what you're talking about with Baltimore, but it actually has a lot more to do with Tampa than it does necessarily with Baltimore. So I like him on the. I definitely like him on the run line here on the first 5. Should be able to stay hot against a team and a pitching staff that is giving you reason to fade them right now. They may pop back. I mean, it is the Rays. There's a lot of talent on that roster. But right now, I don't think you can believe in them, especially over the course of that first 5. So take advantage of the second time through the order stats that Brad was just talking about, plus add in the fact Baltimore's playing pretty well right now. Keep an eye on guys like Rutschman. Keep an eye on guys like Santander that are hitting really well right now, too, if you want to go on the offensive side for some player props.
Do it for Billy Ripken's fuckface bat. Baltimore is covering the first 5-run line.
Number 3.
All right, I got to put explicit lyrics, I think, on this Fade 5 edition as a result, but that was true. 1989 Fleer. It was the era card that everybody wanted. I chased it an entire summer, and I'm also chasing this SGP, and it's all Kodai Senga all the time. And one of the unique pitchers you can actually do this with, and uncorrelating, unsynergizing, and not really bringing it all together, but it does work for him. Let me give you the details on the SGP. Kodai Senga, 6+ strikeouts. Kodai Senga, 2 or more walks. That's it. That little 2-legger. And Boston against the Red Sox, +135 there at DraftKings Sportsbook. Why am I really high on this? Well, it's simple. Senga in 17 starts this season has achieved both feats 11 times. He's got 11.48 K per 9. That ghost forkball is deceiving at times, and it's also missing a lot of spots. Evidence in his 4.81 walks per 9 mark. Yeah, Boston, number 19 in K percentage here in the month of July, and just number 22 in walks rate over that same time frame. But again, Senga's going to miss some bats, and he's also going to miss the strike zone early and often in this one. Both of those occurrences are bound to happen, and as a result, I think he strikes at least 6, and I think he walks at least 2 in Fenway. If he does that, +135. That one I put together at DraftKings Sportsbook. Lundy, are you down with Kodai? Not once, but twice. Fade or follow.
I hope you guys jumped on Senga when the line first came out, because his strikeout prop was at 5.5. Now it's at 6.5. If you want to play if you want to play the over on the 6.5, you got to go. You get into plus odds, but it's moved by a full K, by a full whiff here. And like I said, up to, I think on DK right now, he's +120 to go over that number. So I like the idea of trying to same game this and get it back down to where I can play it at the 6 mark like Brad did. Then add in the walks. Just to give you an idea, folks, straight number for him in walks allowed in the game is at 2.5.
Yeah.
Most pitchers, 1.5. We talked about that earlier this week on Monday on the Fade 5, that there are most of the time pitchers sit at 1.5 on walks allowed. Guys like him, Alex Manoah, he was also up there at 2.5. Senga's up there at 2.5 as well. So take these two, same game them, bring them down, get yourself to plus odds. It's my long-winded way of saying I'm going to follow.
Yeah, smash it, baby. Senga not once, but twice on the SGP.
Number 2.
Numero dos here on the Fade 5 podcast. Let's work in another SGP, and it's all about the pitcher matchup between the White Sox and the Twins. Give me Lance Lynn on the alt strikeout line, 8 or more Ks, and his adversary is Joe Ryan, and I say he strikes at least 5 Chi Sox. Both those Vince Curry look at a +140 there at BetMGM. Lance Lynn is going to be one of the most coveted pieces to add to a rotation at the trade deadline, and he is going to build up his value in the market. 11.05 K per 9 this season, the highest strikeout percentage of his career he owns right now at 14 flat. He faced Minnesota back in April, and it went 6 innings and punched out 10 in that game. And you know the Twinkies have struggled applying bat to ball, number 4 in the month of July, and that's kind of the story all season long. in strikeout percentage, punching out 26.7% of the time. Meanwhile, Joe Ryan has done this in 3 consecutive starts. He's got a stellar 10.50 K per nine on the season. He had 7 strikeouts back in early May against the Southsiders. And you look at the White Sox, number 7 in K rate at 25.5% since July 1st. So again, Lance Lynn, 8 or more strikeouts. Joe Ryan, 5 or more strikeouts. Slap those two together. You look at a plus 140 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
Fade, but here's why.
Wow.
I have an SGP on this game that I like better and that has higher plus odds. And I'm going to give it to you in bonus time. So I'm not going to double down on yours. I'm going to share mine in bonus time. And then the residents of Listenerville or Viewerville can decide whether they want to do yours, do mine, or do both. We'll see what they want to do. But I have an SGP for this game that checks in at higher odds. So I'm fading you only because I'm biased for mine.
Well, I tell you what, I'm a sucker for additional action. So I will take option C. Only above, please.
Number 1.
All right, numero uno on the Fade 5 podcast today. Yes, I am a sucker once again for Kyle Tucker. How could you not be? Give me the over 1.5 total bases in O-Town, taking on the A's. You get that at plus odds, plus 110 right now at BetMGM. I'm rather shocked. This is like minus 110, to be honest with you, because Kyle Tucker has done this in 4 of his last 6 games. He's batting just a teeny tiny 435 over the last 7 days, and over the last month, 360. So he has been scorching hot, to say the least. And on top of that, guy against LHPs, and he's going up against lefty JP Sears in this game. Tucker against Southpaws batting 351 with a 958 OPS. He's faced Sears 4 times in his MLB career, only has a hit, and that was a single. And you look at Sears, you might say, okay, lefty versus lefty matchup. I'm going to maximize that. He probably, puts him down with relative ease on the regular. That is incorrect. He's a hell of a lot better against right-handed hitters. Against left-handed hitters this season, they are batting 293 versus Sears, though JP, to be fair, has allowed just a 3.34 ERA in his last 5 starts. So to recap, Kyle Tucker, I'm going to lay some bucks on him like I did on the over 1.5 total bases against the A's, plus 110 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
I love total base bets. I like them as parlays. I also tend to round robin, like 3 dudes together on that as well. And last night, there I was, Brad, preparing to nod off to sleep and probably have like really strange dreams. And there was one Alex Bregman. Was Alex. Oh, and he steps up to the plate. And all I needed was a couple of total bags out of Bregman to complete a very sexy parlay last night on total bases. And what does Bregman do? Yard in the 9th inning and does it for me in his final at bat. He was 0 for 3 leading up to that, by the way. So I love me some total bases. I know the home run props are fun in part because the payout on them is so much bigger. But I'm telling you, folks, anytime you get the chance to just sprinkle some in on the total bases, I know it's not as sexy, but the payday is good. If you put 1, 2, even 3 of these guys together and they hit, that's what happened for me last night. Let's make Tucker a part of that for tonight, going up against the lowly Oakland A's.
Oh, sexy mother Tucker definitely applies, especially if you chase us on the total bags. What other chase action are we going after tonight in Major League Baseball? Do you want to tail us, or are you going to fade us completely? It's bonus time! Lundy, you have the floor, mi amigo. What do you like in the MLB this evening?
All right, so I want to go back to the one that I just teased a minute ago where you were talking about the battle between the Twins and the Sox, Lance Lynn and Joe Ryan. So I did a little bit of a tweak on what you did. I was looking at the strikeout props on both of those guys, but here's the SGP that I built over at DraftKings. This comes out to a plus 165. So yours was plus 140. Mine is 165. If you want to double down on both, you can, but you're going to see the similarities here between it. In Brad's, you had Lance Lynn for 8 Ks and Ryan for 5, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay, here's mine. Lance Lynn for 6 or more. Joe Ryan for 6 or more, which I believe he is going to be able to do. He's done it in 5 out of his last 6 starts that he has had, and he had 7 against the White Sox back on May 2nd. So I'm gonna go just one notch higher than you. 6 for Lynn, 6 for Ryan, and here's where it gets a little bit weird. Give me a no-run first inning as well.
Oh, wow.
Give me the Nerfy and give me 6 strikeouts apiece for both of those guys, because I do think that part of those strikeouts and a big chunk of them are going to happen the first time through the order. So do all of that together, including a Nerfy over at DraftKings. That one's a plus 165. So I don't hate yours, just like mine a little bit better. Let's go back to Shohei Ohtani for just a moment. Same game parlay, even odds on this, plus 100. Give me Shohei for 7 or more strikeouts. And I know you like him for a walk. Give me 1 hit. That's all I need. Reach base safely once other than a walk. Give me 1 hit for Shohei. And if he does that, we will wind up at plus 100 odds over at DraftKings. He's had 10 starts at home this season, and he's had 6 or more strikeouts, or excuse me, 7 or more strikeouts in 8 out of those 10 starts at home. And in fact, the other 2 starts that he didn't hit the number, he had 6. So I'll take my chances that he's going to be at 7. If you don't like what I threw out there about him to get a hit because you think the guys are pitching around him, find something else. But I love the leg for him to have 7 or more strikeouts in that one. I told you Caesars has a fun bet that I like to be able to make. Give me the Braves and the Brewers to have over 2 total steals in the game.
Oh.
So Braves and the Brewers, I just need 2 steals. Doesn't matter which team does it. Over at Caesars, it's a minus 131. Both of these teams are in the top 12 in the MLB for steals per game on average. So I think they're going to get aggressive on the base paths when it comes up to this contest later tonight in Milwaukee. So give me the over on 1.5. In bonus, or in the plus bus, I gave you Hernandez on the over on the 1.5 total bases. Don't forget about that one. How about another SGP for hits, shall we? Let's talk about the Rangers and the Dodgers. I think there's going to be a shitload of runs in this game, folks. And most importantly, I think there's going to be a lot of bat on ball. So over at DraftKings with the boost, this is a plus 246 with boost. I just need a hit out of Max Muncy, Mookie Betts, Corey Seager. That's it. Just 1 hit from each of those 3 guys. If you add the boost, without the boost, it's at 205. With the boost, it is a 246 on those guys. Really solid numbers in terms of their batting averages and how they've been doing recently. So put all of those guys together, and you should be feeling pretty good. 2 more for you here. Give me, this is a 4-legger from a pitching standpoint. Kyle Bradish, Seth Lugo, Lance Lynn, Joe Ryan. All of them for 6 or more strikeouts. That's all I need. 6 or more out of each of those guys. Bradish, Lugo, Lynn, and Ryan, plus 357. Booyah! Love that one. And finally, let's talk some Yerfies, shall we? I gave you the Nerfy before and what I think is going to happen between Minnesota and the White Sox. On the Yerfie front, Colorado and Miami down in America's Wang. Give me the yes run first inning in that one at a minus 110 at Caesars. And give me the Yerfie between Arizona and Cincinnati. That one is at a minus 130, by the way, at Caesars. Caesars has the best odds on it as of tape time. Reason why with Colorado and Miami, Colorado's had a Yerfie either allowed or done it themselves in 9 out of their last 10 games, okay? And it just, again, the pitching staff sucks. I think Miami's going to take advantage of it. Hell, you could see Reyes get on base, and then boom, he gets knocked around. Boom, we're done in the first inning. That's the reason why I like it with Colorado. With Arizona and Cincinnati, those are the 2 top teams on the season for Yerfies, and they're playing each other. That's crossing the streams in Ghostbusters, folks, okay? Yep. Just take them for the Yerfie. And if you're feeling frisky, if you feel like it's a fucked up Freaky Friday, as long as we're doing the expletives here on today's edition of the podcast, put both of those together on the Yerfie, plus 238 over at Caesars. Brad, I got more. I'll post it up on the spreadsheet, but I yield the floor to the gentleman from Illinois.
Oh, let's stick with the juice because Lundy had some ridiculous offerings there, an entire orchard of goodness for your palate. Let's do the Team Huevos parlay play of the day. It's the revenge, hopefully, game between the Chicago Cubs and the hated rival St. Louis Cardinals at Wrigley Field. The Cardinals got the best of them 7-2 in game number 1. Game number 2, I feel, is going to be a different story. So hopefully it's going to start off our Friday strong. First pitch at 1:20 Central Time at Wrigley. I think the Cubs are going to win this game straight up on the money line. Justin Steele taking on Jack Flaherty. The Cubs, I believe, have scored 3 or more runs. Flaherty with 1 or more walk. Again, I like him for more than 2, quite honestly. And Nolan Arenado to get a hit. And I'll explain why. You see juice there at plus 200 at BetMGM. You look at St. Louis, yeah, they're 8-2 straight up in their last 10, and they won 4 of their last 5 on the road. But it's all about Justin Steele. Like, I had a really good outing earlier this season against the St. Louis Cardinals. He's going to go 6 strong, and hopefully the Cubs bullpen will not muck it up. Meanwhile, the Cubs 3 or more runs. They have done this in 14 of their last 15 games. They're number 2 to who? The St. Louis Cardinals in total runs scored here in the month of July. But again, Flaherty more touchable, I believe, than Justin Steele. Look at the numbers if you don't believe me. Meanwhile, with Flaherty, I just see the 1 walk. He's done that in every single start, all 17. He has taken them out in this season. Again, that 4.65 walks per 9 mark. And the Cubs top 12 in walk percentage here in the month of July. And then finally, Arenado, excellent history against Justin Steele and a pretty good performance line too against LHPs, and Steele is a southpaw. He's 4 for 11 lifetime against them, and he's batting .286 with a .921 OPS against southpaws this year. So to recap, Cubs win, Cubs 3 or more runs, Flaherty free pass, and Nolan Arenado hit, plus 200 there at BetMGM. Elsewhere at bonus time on this 2-legger. Give me Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 walks against the Pirates, and give me Lance Lynn over 17.5 outs against Minnesota. That's plus 170. If you put that together at DraftKings, you look at Ohtani. He's got a 3.93 walks per 9 mark this season. Yeah, I know the 30-plus Cole plus swinging strike percentage is godlike, but he has missed spots. His control has unfurled at times. In 18 games started this season, he's gone over this number 14 times and has done it in 4 straight games. I think he's got to do it again. Pittsburgh, number 13 in walk percentage here in the month of July. And then Lance Lynn, he went 6 strong against Minnesota early this year. I mentioned the 10 strikeouts. That was back in April. And I know he's had his struggles. He's got that 6+ ERA, and everybody's fading him left and right, but he's got a 2.92 ERA here in the month of July and has been over this in 3 of his last 5 starts. So I'm not really all that petrified, scared of the Minnesota offense, though they're starting to pile some runs on the board. Number 13 in total runs scored here in the month of July. But you take the snapshot of the entire season, and they're like one of the bottom 5 offensive teams in Major League Baseball. So I believe Lynn will complete 6 innings. So again, Ohtani over 1.5 walks, Lynn over 17.5 outs, plus 170 there at DraftKings Sportsbook. But wait, there's more. Giancarlo Stanton, he's going yard. Give me him for a home run against Kansas City, plus 290 at BetMGM. Taking on Alec Marsh of the Royals, who has been royally awful. 3.00 home runs per 9 allowed in 3 games started for KC. Stan, of course, he's got that unreal 250 ISO. Top 10 once again in exit velocity, and he's homered 5 times over the last 15 days. I think he does it again, plus 290 there. And then my last wager today, I'm going to go back to Kyle Bradish. We mentioned him on the broadcast earlier. I like him on the over 17.5 outs. best odds in the business right now is at DraftKings, where they're giving it away at even money. You go to BetMGM, you go to FanDuel, you go anywhere else, it's like minus 115 or higher. So take advantage of that very juicy line there at DK. Bradish has been unreal. 0.47 ERA, as I mentioned, here in the month of July. Tampa, number 29. They are next to last in total runs scored here in the month of July. They've only played at 50 guys in 15 games. So, again, they're really falling back on some hard times. And Bradish has gone 6 or more innings in 5 of his last 6. However, during that stretch, the only time he went under was against the Rays. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. So get the 6 Ks for Lundy and then stop there. Don't issue any free passes or maybe one, so you can limit that pitch count and go the full 6 so we can cash the ticket on him in the end. All right, that is a wrap on this edition of the Feed 5 podcast. You enjoy this podcast, please drop us a rating and or review and give us a thumbs up there on YouTube if you're enjoying the animated picture and sound version of this show. Feed or follow us as well and all of our spreadsheet picks on the Twitter. Check out Lundy at Nate Lundy and my wagers there at Noisy Huevos. For the handsome one, Nate Lundy, I'm Brad Evans. Until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.